Welcome to the tutorial for 6-2, the Great Pit of Carkoon. This level combines difficult platforming and movement with super precise skips that make it one of the most challenging in the run. For that reason, we have given this level a difficulty rating of 8 and an RNG rating of 5. Random enemy spawns and deaths in this level play a significant part in your split time. Goal times are not entirely reflective of your skill progression because of this, but it is incredibly common to see time loss pile up in this level regardless of experience. Practice here is crucial for developing muscle memory and consistency that can carry over to runs, and it can be especially helpful to prioritize the first room. Let's begin. Start by holding left and switching to Luke, then start moving to the right. Once you get to the edge of the platform, space a double jump and aim for the center gray chunk of this unactivated bridge. Try to get a slight edge boost, and then space a double jump to get to the other side. Once you get over to the other side, a short camera pan will play as Han and Chewie join your party. You have a small movement period at the start, so do a jump slash with Luke to gain some extra ground. The next part of this room is the Boba boss fight. There are 3 ways to optimally play this fight that will be broken up into beginner, intermediate, and advanced. For the beginner strat, once you regain movement with Luke, move to the right, force the levers down, and pull the bottom one. Your other character will pull the top lever, and while he's doing so, call him in and drop him out to make P2 Chewie. Switch to Han and jump roll to cross the bridge. Shoot the railing with a jump shot, then do a jump shot into the fight for some early hits on the guards. When the camera pan ends, spam jump shots with Han to get rid of the remaining enemies guarding Boba. Perform a jump roll triple shot with Han to shoot Boba quickly. If Boba has any remaining health, finish him off with spammed shots. Immediately after ending the fight, a short mid-show cutscene will play. Spam some shots to the next skiff to clear some enemies. Then switch to Luke and proceed to the next skiff. For the intermediate strat, call in P2 after the camera pan, force the levers down, and pull them with P2 on top and P1 on bottom. Move P2 across the bridge first, followed by P1. This camera pan trigger can only be activated by player 1, so keep player 1 behind the trigger while you move player 2 to where Boba spawns in. Once you're in position with P2, start spamming punches with him while P1 jumps into the trigger. These ground attacks will drain 2 to 3 of Boba's hearts before the camera pan finishes playing. When you regain control of your characters, spam attack with Chewie to finish off Boba. This method is a little tricky to learn, with the strat being almost entirely dependent on your timing with both players, but with practice it should become consistent. After the cutscene finishes, kill any remaining enemies close to you and shoot some shots with P2 across the gap to kill the enemies on the next skiff. The advanced strat is the fastest but most inconsistent method to complete the boss fight. Call in P2, force the levers, then pull the top one with P2 and the bottom one with P1. After that, switch P1 to Han and switch P2 to Luke. Start jump rolling to the skiff on the right with Han. Position player 2 to the right of the railing on the left skiff and turn to face left, like so. As Han approaches the skiff, single jump from here to land on this railing and walk into the camera pan trigger. As soon as you see the camera pan begin, press tag to swap to Chewie. Drop out as soon as you skip the camera pan. After doing this, immediately jump and shoot twice, aiming at this skiff guard. After your second shot, jump roll to this spot on the ground and aim at Boba. Perform a triple shot, spamming as fast as you can to ensure you deal 3 hearts of damage. As soon as you finish damaging him, he'll begin flying. Jump and spam shots at him to deal the final heart of damage. You may die to EBB in the process, but this only loses time if you do not deal the last heart of damage before you die. Once the cutscene ends, move to the right to bring Luke over and shoot shots at the enemies on the next skiff while you wait for him. If you miss the CPS, simply drop out P2 and progress to the boss fight using the beginner strat. As an alternate advanced strat, you may simply stay dropped in after the camera pan skip and stay back with Han. Tap right while shooting with Han to make sure you don't auto-dodge, clearing out all the enemies and Boba simultaneously. You can bring over Chewie to help with the Boba fight if necessary. After the Boba fight, the next skiff will begin to rotate over towards your party. Clear out the enemies waiting for you if they're still there by blowing them up with EBB before swapping or dropping out, since maintaining your heart count is crucial. Then, once you've swapped to Luke, jump across to the next skiff. Make sure not to die before the skiff is finished moving or you will respawn all the way back at the previous skiff. Force the platform and jump onto Jabba's barge. Jump around to avoid getting hit by enemies, and proceed to the opening behind the wall. Con P2 and continue to move left with P1, following the same path with player 2. You'll need to move down with player 1 to go around this lever behind the wall, then back up again to continue forward. Position player 2 in front of the hidden lever behind this wall, and player 1 at this lever on the left. Pull both levers at the same time to combine the camera pans of the platforms coming out, then drop out P2. As a more advanced strat, you can shoot Luke with Chewie right after he pulls his lever to reset his hearts. Just before player 1 reaches the left lever, face left with Chewie and shoot a shot. When player 1 is in range, pull both levers at the same time. If you timed your shot correctly, Luke should die just before the camera pan to reset his hearts. Note that if you drop out before Luke has died, the shot will not explode on him properly. The next section of the level can be skipped using a well-spaced jump, known as Topless. Move around this corner of the wall and hold up left with the D-pad so you're running up against the wall. Once you reach the gray piece in the center, switch to holding straight left, and as you're about to fall off the platform, perform a well-spaced double jump to get to the other side. The timing can be tricky to get down, but after some practice, this trick should become very consistent. You can optionally perform this trick with the stick if you are having trouble with the D-pad inputs. If you miss the jump, you'll respawn next to the first platform extension. Wait a split second for iframes to reset, and attempt the same setup again. Once you get across, continue to move left until you reach this edge in the wall. Force the right side cover to the wall, then immediately move left to force the left side cover as soon as you are able. When the last cover is revealed, a turnstile will appear in the center of the platform and a wave of enemies will spawn from the ceiling ranging from 2 to 4 guards. Force confuse the skiff guards, then turn to force the colors on the right side twice so that the middle color is yellow. Push the turnstile all the way until the bottom color on the right is fully blue, matching the pattern on the left side. The door will open and you can jump slash into the next room. The only backup you should know in this room is the super rare scenario where your characters die falling off the platform before calling them in to pull the levers. If this happens, you'll hear a death sound at some point after this platforming. To back this up, simply pan the camera right and call in P2 once you are behind the wall. Note that if you do this and call in as Han, you will need to switch player 2 back to Chewie when you enter the barge. Once inside the sail barge, call in player 2 and start moving forward with both players. As soon as you are in the targeting range of the wall, shoot the metal barrier with EBB. Continue shooting with Chewie to kill the enemies deeper into the room. Eliminate all the enemies with P2 to clear a path for P1 to the elevator. Be sure to avoid dying with Luke by staying back or to the left to dodge the explosions. Once you reach this spot on the floor, perform a quick double jump and slam at the peak. This will skip having to call down the elevator and enter the next room. It is important to do a quick double jump for this trick, as spacing your jump out may result in a lower double jump. An alternative option is to do a buffer jump and slam at the peak, but this is only recommended if you are having trouble with the quick double jump strat. If you miss the trigger on your slam, move to the elevated ground by the elevator and backflip or spam a double jump, slamming at the peak to enter the next room. The next room is home to one of the most precise tricks in the game, Disco Skip. There have been many setups to do this trick across the years that have ranged in difficulty and consistency. The most consistent setup is known as Pixel Disco, which involves looking at a specific visual cue to line up characters to clip them out of bounds. Switch P1 to Han and begin jump rolling toward the left disco speaker on the wall. As soon as you are able to, start building the speaker with P1 and position Chewie along the wall, making sure to also pull out Chewie's gun. To set up his position initially, run into the corner and hold left until the left side of his body is close to this circle on the wall. Once you are in the general vicinity of the correct spot, you can use Chewie's right leg to identify his exact positioning. The correct visual cue looks like this, where the edge of his foot has a visible spike on it, protruding upwards from the left side. You should see a very tiny pixel to the left of the spike, indicating that Chewie's positioning is correct. If you see this much of the spike, and that pixel has turned into a small line, you are too far left. If you are just barely too far left, you can tap up to put yourself in the correct spot, but this is risky. The safer strat is to move back upwards and tap left again to set it back up. If you see no spike at all, you are too far right. It's worth noting that there is a range of positions that will work with Chewie. They are usually somewhere between here and here. The goal is to have a decent amount of the spike visible without the line protruding from the pixel. It's possible to barely see the line start to form on the leftmost frame, and the rightmost frame is the first frame that the pixel disappears. Anything past these and your attempt will miss. Once you are aligned correctly, finish building with Han. If you are positioned correctly, you should get pushed out into the left wall. To cross to the other side, hold left and jump around the wall with a circular motion, eventually back to the right. The collision here is finicky, but if you die, you should respawn in the spot where you got clipped out of bounds. If you pop in bounds in front of the wall, you'll have to reset up Disco Skip. Shoot the disco with Chewie to break it. Note that if you are up against the disco, you may get a shot without EVB, skipping a potential death. It is important to practice the out of bounds movement to get an idea of how to safely navigate behind the wall. Once you are on the other side of the wall, move Han to this spot centered on the wall. You can shoot EBB into the wall with Han to reset his hearts. Line Chewie up so he is directly above Han like this. From here, simply hold straight up, tapping right a few times if necessary to hit the door. If you are unable to find the door, manually drop Han out, as standing against the far wall for too long will force an auto dropout on your controller player, which is very slow to fix in the end room. The M platform consists of two strats broken up into beginner and advanced. Both contain high amounts of 1P2C, so it is highly recommended to practice this room thoroughly. Once you gain control of your player, run up and shoot the top grate containing the first explosive, and then the bottom grate which contains a power-up. Grab the power-up with P1 while waiting for the explosive to slide out, then start pushing the bomb once it is fully emerged. As you start pushing the explosive down, call on player 2 if they aren't already, and immediately switch them over to 3PO and head towards this panel on the top target. Continue to push the explosive with Han and watch out for any enemy spawns. The power-up does a decent job of neutralizing any Skiff enemies since it deflects blaster shots, but it does not make you immune to Gamorrean attacks, so be sure to eliminate any of those by spamming attack once they aggro on you. Activate the panel as soon as you are able to with 3PO and leave him in place. Jump around the railing to the right explosive and push it in its place to reveal the bottom target. While this is happening, your party should head to the right, and you can switch to a blaster character to blow up the top target from the right side by aiming up left and doing a jump shot. Once both bombs at the bottom are in place, drop out P2 and run down towards the bottom and blow up the last target, also using a jump shot to avoid accidentally shooting an enemy. Every single enemy spawn is random, so it is important to be aware of all of them as you move across the room and prioritize Han's movement instead of 3PO's, since they will only target player 1. It is also possible for the power-up to despawn, making you vulnerable to every single enemy attack. If this happens, it becomes even more important to kill any enemies with Han if they come near you, since taking damage not only drains your health, but briefly stops you from pushing the bomb. The advanced route saves around 10 seconds to the beginner route, but depends much more on RNG since you will be avoiding the power-up entirely. Hold up with P2 and up right with P1 towards the first wave of enemies. Jump shoot the grate containing the bomb on the top with player 2 and kill each of the 3 enemies that spawn with player 1. Move over to the top bomb with player 2 and stand here with player 1. Begin pushing the bomb with Chewie while player 1 waits for the next set of enemies to spawn. If you are standing in the correct spot, 2 enemies will drop down. If they are skiff guards, shoot 2 shots to kill them and jump roll over to this bomb with Han. If 2 Gamorreans spawn, shoot them with Han as well, but you will need to shoot 3 or 4 shots instead, as they will block the first one, then explode on the next one. As soon as they're dead, jump roll to the bomb on the right. Going too far ahead with player 1 can cause the camera to pull player 2 away from the bomb's path, so be sure to prioritize Chewie's movement. You can prevent this by making sure you push the right bomb as fast as possible. Once the right bomb is in place, head over here and switch player 1 to C-3PO. He may be hidden, but will normally be in this general area. Activate the panel as soon as you are able to. Swap player 1 to the nearest blaster character, then destroy the targets. To properly blow up the targets, you will need to be positioned precisely. For this target, stand here and shoot facing left at this corner. For the other target, stand here and face up or up left and aim at this corner. If you can, drop out player 2 before the level ends. If you break player 1's target first, skip this step and drop out in the next level instead. While this route has nuances in RNG, it is very consistent if you execute it correctly. This concludes the Carkoon tutorial.